Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the Mix Clinic. Andy Anderson here, and today I'm going to show you how to get your vocals popping in a mix coming up right after this. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Andy Anderson here, Mix Clinic, www.vrsstudios.com. And today I'd like to go over this video showing you some techniques that I use to get a lead vocal kind of up in a mix and get it on top of the mix, get that presence that you're looking for to give you a more professional sound. I'm going to start today using a song by an artist here in Florida by the name of Mark Mansfield. I will put all of his information in the link and description below. And the song is called Into Bloom. He's a local Christian artist, and I'm going to play it from the very beginning and just let you hear what I've got going on. Let's jump right into it.
I was withered in darkness, I was jaded by the wind, I was altogether lifeless, afraid to open up again. And I was feeling so hopeless, too ashamed to let you in. I was empty, I was useless, I didn't think I'd hear you again.
So as you can tell, it's a nice ballad that he's got here, and it was recorded here at the studio. I did a lot of the engineering on this. It's a live cello. It's all live instrumentation, all cut here at the studio. So when I got to the mix, I really wanted to make sure I brought that vocal kind of up and made it very present without it kind of interfering with the song in any way. So I want to show you a little bit about what I've got going on here, and I'm going to, obviously you probably noticed by now by looking at the screen there are two vocals playing, and I'll go over that in just a minute. I'm going to mute the vocal that I have on the side and just play the one vocal. So you're going to hear a drop in volume, but I want you to hear just the processing on one of the vocals.
I was withered in darkness, I was jaded by the wind.
So naturally you noticed a lot of the volume drop, which is natural because we're losing a lot of dB because the second vocal isn't playing there. That is an actual copy of the lead vocal, and I just processed it differently. So I'm going to take off some of the processing I have. Now, obviously, you see a limiter here at the bottom. I'm going to take off the EQ first and some of this processing, and let's take a listen to it.
I was withered in darkness, I was jaded by the wind.
So you're obviously losing some volume, but you're also noticing a tonal change on the vocal that you're gonna really notice right away. So what I did first on this channel was I used an SSL style plugin, and I did some EQing. I brought some of the frequencies below 83 hertz down. I did a little bit of boosting here at 16K on the top frequency here, and I did a little bit of a boost at 50 hertz, which is way down in the very bottom end of the vocal. All right, so that right there is the first thing I did, just to kind of carve a little bit. Now I'm going to take this off and play it again.
I was withered in darkness, I was jaded by the wind.
Okay, and then I'll put the EQ back in.
I was withered in darkness, I was jaded by the wind.
So as you notice, just the plugin itself probably brought a little bit more presence up. I used a little bit of this harmonic saturation knob here to bring in a little bit of the harmonics, and then I just went ahead and boosted a little at 16, and then down way in the very bottom I boosted a little bit, quite a bit. I boosted 5 dB because there really wasn't any information in the vocal down in that area, so when I brought it up it just kind of made it sound to me a little bit more analog. So then after that, I put a multi-band compression on it, which I use a lot, and I use it in several stages on lead vocals in different songs. It depends on what it really is called for in the song. So right here, if you notice, I'm gonna put this on.
I was withered in darkness. I was jaded by the wind.
Now, you probably notice here around in the 200 hertz range, there was a little bit of boominess in his vocal. And I wanted to take a little bit of that out because it's in the piano already. So what I did is I just knocked that down a little bit and I brought up a little bit more of the 1K range, just to kind of push him forward in the mix and bring him forward. So after that, obviously, I love this LA2A style compressor. I use this quite a bit, but look at how little work this is doing. It's really not doing anything on the vocal.
I was withered in darkness. I was jaded by the wind.
So if you notice, that needle only moved when he said jaded. So that was doing very little on the processing of the vocal, but the tone of this this compressor is really interesting because immediately it brings up a little bit more of that presence in the vocal. So after I boosted it, and some of you guys do this after the fact, but for me on this song, I did it before the fact. I liked the way this sounded. I put the multi-band compression before the LA2A. So after that, I put a tiny little bit of de-essing on it. I will leave the de-essing off and play it, and then I'll put it back on.
I was withered in darkness. I was jaded by the...
And then back on.
I was withered in darkness. I was jaded by the...
So as you can definitely hear a difference. It's quite remarkable what this de-esser does with just very little threshold brought down on it. In other words, this knob is, the further you bring it to the left, the more the de-esser will work. It is barely set, and just the natural amplitude of the vocal is hitting that, bringing the S's down. Lastly, on this vocal, I put a little bit of a limiter. It's doing, again, very little.
I was withered in darkness. I was jaded by the wind. I was altogether lifeless.
Again, just very little, maybe two decibels of limiting there. Now, I'm going to bring in the parallel vocal, and on this channel, I've got quite a similar stuff going on. However, I boosted and cut in different frequencies. Now, on this one, as you could see, I took it all the way up to 170 hertz off the vocal. I didn't really touch the top vocals. I used some harmonic saturation. And I really I took a little bit of the 200 hertz out, about 3 dB on this one. I went back into the multi-band, but this was set differently, and I boosted the top end on this one to give it a little clarity.
I was withered in darkness. I was jaded by the wind.
So as you notice, as the singer sings, this is going to knock the S's down, but when he's not singing the actual S value, vowel, it's going to bring up the air in his voice. So really, I pumped the air up just a bit in his vocal, but when he says his S's, it actually catches that and brings it down. So it sort of brings up the air without really bringing up the harshness. Now, I put it back through, this time, a little bit more of an aggressive 1176. And I like it in the blue mode because it's a little more aggressive. And then I set a slow attack and a fast release.
I was withered in darkness.
So as you can see on the parallel, I squashed the tar out of this vocal. I like the sound of that. It makes kind of a softer voice, a little bit more aggressive in a mix. if you need, you got to be very careful with it because this can really become a spitty compressor. You can really sort of hear way down into the throat, and you don't really want that. It's distracting on certain songs like this. Is not something you want to go for. But what I did is I hit it pretty hard, and I just made sure it just attacked it and got out of the way. Next in line is a very strange thing here. This is what we call a dynamic EQ. That means that the different frequency points will move in tandem with the singer's vocal. And this is an EQ I rely on many times to bring up different parts of the vocal. And I just did some EQing there. Lastly, I did the Pro L again. Both of them turned on together in the mix. Sounds like this.
I was withered in darkness. I was jaded by the wind. I was altogether lifeless. I was captured by your brilliance, and your presence felt so near. But my heart has been drifting as the days turned into years.
So as you hear it, it sits well in the mix. I put a little bit of plate reverb on there, and that's basically all I did to that lead vocal. Remember, it's always in the recording first, in the mix second when it comes to mixing. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, I'll put Mark's information in the description below. Go ahead and give me a like and subscribe if you'd be so kind. Follow my channel. I have some more videos coming out, and we'll see you again soon.